There is a tree whose bark contains the most powerful painkiller known to ancient medicine. For 4,000 years, it ended suffering for millions across every continent. Then, one German company stole its secret, patented a synthetic copy, and spent a century convincing doctors the original was dangerous. Why did Bayer criminalize the cure that grew freely by every river? Sumerian tablets from 2000 BCE describe it treating fever and joint pain. Egyptian papyrus scrolls detail its preparation for childbirth agony. Hippocrates prescribed it for headaches and inflammation. Native American healers called it nature's aspirin. Roman physicians carried it to battlefields where soldiers chewed the inner bark for pain relief during surgery. Welcome to Buried Yield. If these records matter, subscribe and enable notifications. This is willow bark, Salix species, the pain tree that lined riversides across the ancient world. Its inner bark contains salicin, the compound that would later become aspirin. But the natural version offered something synthetic copies never could: complete pain relief without stomach bleeding, kidney damage, or liver toxicity. For millennia, this medicine required no laboratory, no prescription, no payment. It grew wherever water flowed. Village healers stripped the bark in spring when sap ran highest. They dried it for winter storage or brewed fresh tea for immediate relief. Chinese physicians documented its use 2,500 years ago for arthritis and fever. Sanskrit texts describe it treating inflammatory conditions. Greek physicians prescribed it for childbirth pain and menstrual cramps. Every medical tradition that encountered willows incorporated them into pain management protocols. Medieval European monasteries cultivated specific willow species for their infirmaries. Monks understood that different varieties provided varying potencies. They developed preparation methods that maximized effectiveness while minimizing bitter taste. Their pharmaceutical gardens always included extensive willow groves. Native American tribes across North America used willow bark independently. The Ojibwe called it pain medicine. The Cherokee brewed it for headaches and fever. Children learned to identify the trees by their long, narrow leaves and flexible branches. Families harvested bark sustainably, never killing the trees. The active compound, salicin, works differently than synthetic substitutes. Natural willow bark contains multiple alkaloids that work synergistically. These compounds buffer salicin's effects, preventing the gastric irritation that synthetic versions cause. The whole plant provides balanced medicine that isolated chemicals cannot replicate. But this abundance threatened emerging pharmaceutical interests. A pain reliever that grew freely beside every stream could not be controlled. It could not be patented. It could not generate recurring prescription revenue. It represented medical independence that threatened developing drug company profits. The theft began in 1838, when Italian chemist Raffaele Piria isolated salicin from willow bark. German researchers then synthesized salicylic acid artificially. By 1897, Bayer chemist Felix Hoffmann had created acetyl-salicylic acid, a modified version they named aspirin. Bayer immediately patented their synthetic creation. They claimed it was superior to natural willow bark, easier to standardize, and more effective for pain relief. They launched marketing campaigns emphasizing scientific precision over traditional plant medicine. The company funded studies that highlighted willow bark's variability while promoting aspirin's consistency. They convinced medical schools that synthetic drugs represented progress over plant-based treatments. They established protocols that favored patented medications over traditional remedies. By 1915, aspirin had become the world's most prescribed painkiller. Medical education shifted toward synthetic pharmaceuticals. Physicians learned to prescribe standardized doses rather than prepare plant medicines. Traditional knowledge was marginalized, as unscientific folk remedy. Bayer marketed aspirin aggressively across global markets. They established manufacturing facilities worldwide. They created distribution networks that made synthetic drugs more accessible than traditional plants. They funded medical journals that promoted pharmaceutical approaches over botanical ones. The irony became profound during both world wars. Soldiers suffered from aspirin shortages, while willow trees grew abundantly near battlefields. Military physicians prescribed expensive synthetic drugs, while traditional medicine that could provide identical relief surrounded their field hospitals. Modern research reveals what traditional healers always knew. Studies published in Phytotherapy Research show willow bark provides pain relief equivalent to aspirin without gastric side effects. Research documents its anti-inflammatory properties. Clinical trials prove its effectiveness for arthritis and chronic pain. European physicians rediscovered willow bark during the 1970s when aspirin's side effects became undeniable. German doctors began prescribing standardized willow bark extracts for patients who couldn't tolerate synthetic drugs. Swiss research confirmed its superior safety profile. Yet, American medicine continues promoting synthetic alternatives exclusively. Medical schools teach aspirin mechanisms without mentioning willow bark origins. Physicians prescribe expensive pain medications, while willow trees grow outside hospital windows. Pharmaceutical companies now extract salicin from willow bark to manufacture aspirin, but they market the synthetic version as superior to its natural source. They profit from both ends, harvesting free plant material and selling expensive synthetic copies. The global pain medication market generates over $90 billion annually. Bayer's aspirin sales alone exceed $1 billion yearly. Meanwhile, willow bark remains classified as unproven herbal medicine, despite containing the identical active compounds found in their patented drugs. Patients suffer gastric bleeding from synthetic aspirin, while willow bark provides the same pain relief without adverse effects. Emergency rooms treat aspirin overdoses, while traditional preparations offer safer alternatives. Insurance covers expensive pharmaceuticals, but not the plant medicines they were copied from. The tree that ended human suffering for 4,000 years now grows unrecognized along riverbanks. Its bark contains the same medicine that built pharmaceutical fortunes. Its compounds provide pain relief without the toxicity that synthetic versions cause. Traditional preparation methods survive in marginalized communities where pharmaceutical access remains limited. Herbalists continue teaching sustainable harvesting techniques. Small companies produce standardized willow bark extracts for people seeking natural alternatives. But mainstream medicine ignores the original while promoting inferior copies. Medical education emphasizes synthetic drug mechanisms while erasing botanical origins. Patients remain unaware that their expensive prescriptions were stolen from trees growing freely in nature. The systematic suppression of willow bark represents how traditional healing knowledge can be appropriated, patented, and sold back to communities that developed it. It shows how natural abundance can be criminalized to create pharmaceutical profits. The tree that ended suffering for millennia still lines riversides across every continent. Its bark contains the same compounds that generate billions in drug sales. It offers identical pain relief without the side effects that synthetic copies cause. That effectiveness is exactly why it had to be stolen and hidden. If this changed how you see food, history, or power, subscribe to Buried Yield. The next record opens soon.